אחינו כל בית ישראל, אחינו כל בית ישראל, הנתונים בצרה, בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, יוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה ליורה, ומשעבוד לגאולה, שתה בגלה ובזמן קריב. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, יוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה ליורה, ומשעבוד לגאולה, שתה בגלה ובזמן קריב. אחינו כל בית ישראל, אוי אחינו, אוי כל בית ישראל, הנתונים בצרה, אוי בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. אחינו כל בית ישראל, אחינו כל בית ישראל, הנתונים בצרה, בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, יוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה ליורה, ומשעבוד לגאולה, שתה בגלה ובזמן קריב. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, יוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה ליורה, ומשעבוד לגאולה, שתה בגלה ובזמן Itai, how long we got roughly, like before you start? Just as 20 minutes? Okay. Do you want to just play something like instrumental, something like just chill to just some chill?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Howard Kamen, and I want to start by thanking you all, each and every one of you, for being here tonight. We came together as a community to mark 500 days since the 7th of October, a day that changed so many lives forever. We gather in sorrow, in solidarity, and in remembrance, but we also gather in strength, ensuring that the voices of those we lost are never forgotten. Your presence is testament to our resilience and our commitment to standing together always. It is now my honor to introduce Michael Marlo, who will share some words with us this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. We stand here together, stronger together, in Hendon Park, at the Holocaust Memorial Garden. 80 years ago, Auschwitz was liberated. A Holocaust survivor said much later, "What happened, happened. We can no longer change it, but it must never, ever happen again." October the 7th, 2023, 500 days ago, never ever again happened again. It is a day that changed the world. Heartbreakingly, it was a day that ended our son's life at just 26 years young. My name is Michael. My wife's name is Lisa. She's around somewhere. There she is. We are the parents of Jake Marlo, Yaakov, Avraham Ben Moshe. Each speaker here tonight has a story to tell. Ours is deeply personal. Jake's story is one of many from that dark, hateful day and beyond. Time does not allow me to tell you his full life story. Many of you will have heard it and know it. It's hard to see here. Like so many of us, Jake had a deep love and pride for our spiritual homeland, our people, and our faith. Like many of us here, he simply carried it within him. He was a hugely gifted musician. He toured the world with his band. In between tours, he always came home to recharge, to spend precious time with his beloved sister Natasha, and most of all, to once again savor his mum's much-missed cooking. One day, while watching social media, he saw something that shook him to the very core. It was the heinous Palestinians driving up and down the Finchley Road, some 15 minutes away from here, flags waving, shouting vile threats against Jewish people, against our women and children. It struck a nerve, ignited a fire deep inside him. A few months later, Jake made a decision that would change his life. Jolly cold. He told us he was making Aliyah. Why? Because he did not feel safe in this country. He did not like this country. He did not see a future of this country. What a visionary he was. And so, on November 30th, 2021, at just 24 years old, he left a tearful Heathrow behind. Not for Jakey, the bright lights of Tel Aviv, he instead headed up north to Marlo. He quickly fell in love with his new country, was wonderfully happy. October the 7th, 2023. The previous year, Jake and two of his friends, Shlomi and Aviv, did unarmed security at the Nova Festival. The three of them chose to do the same again. Jake called us at 6:29 a.m. local time to say he was at the festival. There was a lot of commotion going on. There's also paragliders in the air. He told us he loved us very much and would call back later. That call never came. I flew out to Israel on October the 10th to search for Jakey. The flight was secured by the wonderful Israeli consulate here in London. Initially, I was told by the UK ambassador to Israel, Mr. Simon Waters, when he came to visit me, that through the Norwegian counterparties, they had identified Jake through facial recognition, and they believed he was taken hostage, that he or his colleagues would be in constant contact. They never were. They never have been since. Was I relieved? Yes, of course, as our son was not dead or missing, but alive. I was also too naive to not know that being a hostage in Gaza was very different to being a hostage in a country that did not adhere to the Geneva Convention or indeed human decency. A few hours later, there was a knock on the same door. In walked 2 IDF soldiers, 2 civilians. With little small talk, the lady IDF soldier looked at me, said she had news about Jake. I, of course, knew her news. She said, "Your son Jake is dead. He was identified by DNA." At that very moment, my world collapsed. I insisted on identifying Jakey myself. I also had the horrific task of calling Lisa in London to say that our son, our life's masterpiece, was dead. To hear Lisa crying hysterically and uncontrollably is a sound that will haunt me till my very last breath. I went to the temporary morgue just outside of Tel Aviv. Lorry after lorry after lorry entered, and they were not carrying food. Eventually I was called in, hoping upon all hope that it was not Jake. I entered the morgue, and there was a heavily shrouded body on a table. As I got closer, I immediately recognized Jake's boots. I said, "That is my son." I was told I had to identify Jake by his tattoos on his calves. That I did. I then asked for Jake's head and face to be uncovered. What I saw is a vision that will stay with me for the rest of my life. He had been shot 9 times and been left uncovered in the desert sun for 3 days. I kissed Jake's face on both cheeks, on his lips, and told him that we loved him. We would love him forevermore. What became of Jake's 2 friends that were with him? Aviv was the only one with a revolver. He was blown up, trying to keep the scum at bay. Shlomi was taken hostage. Jakey died a hero. He showed extraordinary courage in the face of unimaginable horror. He sacrificed his life to help others, shepherding them to safety till he was cut down in a hail of bullets, shot by bloodthirsty, hate-fueled, scum-of-the-earth terrorists. Even now, 500 days later, people say to us, "We have no words." There are no words. We are bereft and broken beyond repair. We then lived through the horrors of being very close to a hostage family. We visited Shlomi's family many times in Israel. On June the 8th, we were with his 2 sisters at the very moment he and the 3 other hostages were rescued by the IDF in that unbelievably daring mission. Our story is not unique. Sadly, it is mirrored by thousands of others who had their lives shattered by that day from hell. Yet out of the depths of darkness, a beacon of light has emerged. Remarkable strength has risen, and that light, that strength, is you. Our community is united as never before, from all walks of life, stronger together. We hug each other. Yellow ribbons, lime railings and trees, hostage posters remind the world of those still missing. We may not know all the names of our hostages, but we certainly know their faces. They have become our family, and we desperately care for them. Thousands of Shabbat candles are packed and delivered to homes and establishments each week. Weekly vigils in Boreham Wood, daily vigils in Brighton. The wearing of dog tags and yellow pins on our clothing like an army. We, though, are unarmed. Our ammunition is our belief that good will always overcome evil. A huge thank you, first of all, to CST for all they do for us, keeping us safe. Jake's heroism, his bravery, and his selfless love for others will never be forgotten. His light will continue to shine in the lives of those who he saved, in the hearts of everyone who loved him. And that is mirrored by all the other beautiful souls from the last 500 grief-filled and torturous days since October the 7th, 2023. Our hearts go out to them. Hold on 1 second. The double-edged emotions of seeing some of our hostages released. The sheer joy that they are back in the arms of their loved ones and back in our homeland. Last page. Hold on, where's that last page? Sorry. The release has been both dehumanizing and abject torture. The horrors of seeing the devastating toll it has taken on them after so long in the hellholes of Gaza. Those images evoked the horrifying pictures from the liberation of the camps in 1945. To the UN and the Red Cross, who have failed our hostages and indeed humanity, shame on you. To the media, blinded by bias, Israel, the Jewish people, and the hostages are owed an apology. We will not forget. We will not forgive. That is what we are as people. We are indeed stronger together. Thank you.
Symphony, play with me, look into my eyes and see. People walk away but never say goodbye. Someone stole the moon tonight, took my light. Everything is black and white. The fool told you boys don't cry. Hours and hours and powers. Life is no game, but it's hours wild. The time goes wild. Every day I'm losing my mind, holding on this mysterious ride, dancing in the storm. I got nothing to hide. Take it on, leave the world behind. Baby, promise me you'll love me again. I'm still broken from this hurricane, this hurricane. We're living in a fantasy, ecstasy. Everything is meant to be. We shall pass, but love will never die. 'Cause hours and hours and powers. Life's no game, but it's ours. Wow, the time goes wild. And every day I'm losing my mind. I'm holding on in this mysterious ride, dancing in the storm. We've got nothing to hide. Take it on and leave the world behind. Baby, promise me you'll hold me again. I'm still broken from this hurricane, this hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane. Oh, oh, oh. משאיר לי אור אחד קטן.
Good evening, my friends. 500 days. I worked out that that is 12,000 hours and 170,000 minutes. And I thought, you know, every single one of those 170,000 minutes has been felt and counted, hasn't it? For 500 days, I know certainly I have, and I can only imagine everybody else here as well, because, you know, I'm not Jewish or Israeli. But for 500 days, I've felt the plethora of human emotions, from utter shock, horror, and devastation when 500 days ago, on October the 7th, Hamas invaded Israel and did what they did. When I saw the images of Naama Levi being pulled out of the back of a Jeep, when I saw Shani Luke's body being paraded through a town in Gaza with baying, cheering mobs running behind her, when I think about the 1,200 family members, which would have actually been more, who got that call nobody ever wants to get, letting them know that their family member has either died, they don't know where they are, or they know that they've been taken. I think of who is now to me like family, and I know to so many others, our dear friends Michael and Lisa Marlo, who are friends and parents that experienced that phone call, the loss of their precious Jakey. Very quickly, what followed is 500 days of disbelief, frustration, anger, and utter disappointment as we watched the world push propaganda, as we watched people eat up the lies of a terrorist organization as if it were truth. The sadness at watching our neighbors and colleagues and friends and family members even utterly betray what it feels like betrayal. To be unreachable as we watch the hate marches descend into the West, and we saw people rip down pictures of people that are very dear and precious to all of us now, their faces so etched onto our heart, and all of their stories. But what followed behind all of that deep sadness and tragedy and an endless well of pain and tears was something unexpected. Something unexpected whereby friendships were forged, and this unity that I have never seen, having done this work for a long time, just as an observer, and also as being able to be friends with so many people that I wouldn't have met. Many of us would never have met, or our paths might not have ever crossed. And we saw this relentless, incredible, sacrificial drive of normal people stepping up and standing up against hatred. I think of Stop the Hate. I think of all of the amazing people who put up ribbons and posters. And I think of our incredible friends, Devorah and Jack. Yes. Who embody purity and love and sweetness and goodness, and who have been out continually replenishing ribbons. Were only here yesterday in the freezing cold, making sure there were ribbons here for us tonight. You guys are amazing and loved by so many. Yeah, here. I think of every single one of you that no event is anything without you guys turning up. And so many of you have shown up and turned up in the cold, in the rain. Thank you. Well done. Absolutely amazing. And all of the unsung heroes, like the people who take the photographs. You know, their names aren't in lights. Amanda, Niaz, Tony, Elliot, Sylvia, yes, of course. And I just think it's important for us to hold space and say, actually, you guys are amazing. You rock. You've been incredible. And so I just want to say, and I know many of you have heard me speak again, and I never want to just be the boring same old thing, but as I do always say, you don't have to be Israeli or Jewish to care so deeply and love you so much. And so I want to say to every Jewish person here, I love you so much, and I am dedicated and continue to be dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism, standing for you with all my might, and I represent so many Christians who are doing that. I want you to know that. And I love you guys. Pleasure. I love you so much. And then to every non-Jewish ally who I've watched be so tireless, and I think of Mark and the crew at Our Fight, Kirpa, Niaz, Lily Moo, so many amazing non-Jewish allies who have been relentless, often been arrested unfairly. You guys, I've got so much respect for you and love, and it's an honor to know you. So whilst it's been 500 days of pain, let's hold on to the 500 days where we have found hope and love and new friendships. So thank you all, and I love you very much.
Just start the intro and we'll do it from there.
כשהלב בוכה, רק אלוקים שומע. הכאב עולה מתוך הנשמה. אדם נופל לפני שהוא שוקע. בתפילה קטנה חותך את הדממה. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, אתה כל יכול. נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוכה בשקט. וכשהלב שותק, הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, עכשיו אני לבד. חזק אותי אלוקיי, עשה שלא אחד. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח. עשה שיגמר, כי לא נותר בי כוח. כשהלב בוכה, הזמן עומד מלכת. האדם רואה את כל חייו פתאום אל הלא נודע. הוא לא רוצה ללכת לאלוקיו, קורא על סף תהום. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, אתה כל יכול. נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, לב בוכה בשקט.
Bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them. Bring them. Bring them now.
Hello. I'm Yisroch. Hi, everybody. It's a great honor to invite our next speaker, Rabbi Dweck. Rabbi Dweck is the senior rabbi of the Spanish and Portuguese Sephardi community of the United Synagogue and the Beit Midrash of the Habura. He is the deputy president of the London School of Jewish Studies and a president of the Council of Christian and Jews and the ecclesiastical authority to the Board of Deputies of British Jews. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Dweck.
Chayva Chayotai, my brothers and sisters. For 500 days, Am Yisrael around the world has had their heart broken, pierced, torn apart. We have seen horrors that we never thought we would see in our lives. During that time, there was one phenomenon that, interestingly for me, and I know for all of you, was one of the most horrible to witness. And that was that immediately after October 7th, the photos that you are all holding of the hostages were posted in our communities all over the world, in the cities in which the Jewish people have lived. And they were torn down. Remember how you felt the first time that you saw the photos of innocent hostages torn down. For me, it was like a punch to the gut. And I traveled during that time. It wasn't just here in London, in England, that no matter where they were placed, they were immediately torn down. I was in Amsterdam, torn down. In Switzerland, torn down. In New York, torn down. Who tears down the photos of innocent hostages? Who does that? And we think, who are the evil ones? The terrorists. We can call them evil. But who's tearing down the posters? The malice is malignant. And it has found its way into the hearts of university professors and university students, of actors and writers, of journalists and activists, and those who call themselves humanitarians, like the Red Cross. Shame on the Red Cross. Dare they have the gall to say now, after 500 days, that they are concerned about the welfare of the Israeli hostages? Where were they for 500 days? The malice is malignant. There is an evil afoot. Chayva Chayotai, my brothers and sisters, it pains me to say it in front of you. This is not the speech that I want to give. But we must not be afraid to see what we see. We must call evil, evil when we see it, even if it is dressed as a university professor, as a journalist, or an activist. It is not acceptable. Jihadism, Islamism is not acceptable. There is an evil afoot, and its malice is malignant. It is spreading. It isn't just contained in the East. And it goes through. It finds its passage. And you know how? It finds its passage under the standard of political correctness. Because we don't say it when we see it. Because we're too polite to say it. Because we're afraid what people might say about us if we say it when we see it. But we must say it. To Gehinnom with political correctness. Maybe that's why 77 million Americans voted for a man who doesn't know political correctness. Wouldn't know it if he saw it and staring at him in the face. Its passage is through the tolerance that is fake. We can't do that anymore. We're not standing out here in the bitter cold tonight simply to be able to come together. We need to do something. We need to say something. And that's what we're doing here tonight, and it's what we must continue to do. We can no longer afford political correctness. We can no longer afford politeness, because they would kill us if they could. And they show you that they would by tearing down the faces of innocents everywhere they are posted. There's only one place in which those photos are not torn down, and that's Israel. And the Jewish people around the world have come together during these 500 days in a way that we have not seen for some time. And let that be a strength for all of us. Let it be something that we know in our hearts and our souls, that we are a 4,000-year-old people. And they will not take us down, and we're not going anywhere. But I want to tell you something. Purim is coming soon, and you know what Mordechai told Esther? He said to her, you know, Esther, we're in a lot of trouble right now. I'm going to tell you something. The Jewish people will come through. Revach v'atzala yavo l'Yehudim makom acher, he said. Well, the Jews are going to come through this. I have no doubt about this. But the question is, how, Esther? How will the Jews come through? You, Esther, can do something. You can make a difference. You can say something. You can stand up and call out what it is that you're seeing. Ultimately, Atu bet avich tovedu, it says in the Megillah. There will be no book of Esther, no Purim. Thankfully, there is a book of Esther, and there is a Purim. We must speak, and we must act, and we must remember that we can come through this with our heads held high and triumphantly, or God forbid, by the skin of our teeth, and we will not come through this by the skin of our teeth, not again. The nation of Israel, the people of Israel, the Jewish people, we've seen this before. It's not our first time. We have to make our voices heard, and we have to stand with our heads held high, and we have to be strong, and we must call evil what it is, and we must reject jihadism and Islamism. We must reject the extremism. We must absolutely condemn when it is that we see what is absolutely condemnable. Am Yisrael Chai. I've been asked, and I ask you to join me to say 2 chapters of Tehillim, of Psalms. These are the words that our people have spoken for thousands of years. And we'll stand here tonight and say them together. Tehillim 121, Kuf Chaf Aleph, and Tehillim 130, Kuf Lamed. I ask your forgiveness. I'm a Sephardi, so I'm going to say it in my tune, but you'll follow along. Am Yisrael is Chai and Echad. Shir lama'alot, Esa enai el harim, Me'ayin yavo Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai, Ose shamayim va'aretz, Al yiten lamot raglecha, Al yanum shomerecha,
הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. אדוני סילך על יד ימיניך, השם משקך בירח בלילה, אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, אדוני ישמור שאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. שיר המעלות ממעמקים, קראתיך אדוני, אדוני שמעה בקולי, תהיינה אוזניך קשובות לקול תחנוני, עם עוונות תשמוריה, אדוני מי יעמוד כעמך סליחה, למען תברק קיוויתי אדוני קיוותה נפשי, ולא דברו אכלתי נפשי לאדוני, שומרים לבוקר, שומרים לבוקר, אחר ישראל עם אדוני, כי עם אדוני החסד, והרבה עמו פדות, והוא יפדה את ישראל מכל עוונותיו.
Good evening. It is my great honor to introduce our next speaker, Jonathan Sakadati. Jonathan is a highly respected journalist and broadcaster, known for his insightful analysis and in-depth reporting on Middle Eastern affairs, anti-Semitism, and global politics. With his extensive experience in media and advocacy, he has been a powerful voice in standing up for truth and justice. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan to the stage.
Today we are marking 500 days. 500 days since the start of the war, since Israel was invaded by Palestinian terrorists, since 1,175 people were brutally killed, since 251 people were abducted and imprisoned in the Gaza Strip. 500 days ago, our entire world changed. We learned that Jews were not safe, even in Israel, and that we are not truly safe here, in Europe or anywhere. We're not safe in our university campuses, or in hospitals, or on the streets of London. We're not safe from slander by our national broadcaster, the BBC. We are not protected to learn and thrive in our places of education. We are not defended properly by our police from those who call for jihad or genocide on our streets. 500 days ago, we learnt that if we were chosen for anything, it is to be set apart from everyone else, to be hated, hunted, hounded in our everyday decent lives. We as Jews were chosen to be abused by the UN. We were chosen to be condemned by international courts. We were chosen to bear the centuries-old hatred of so many, those who seek to absolve themselves of their crimes by accusing us of the very evils they commit against us over and over and over again. All this for defending ourselves against genuine existential threats in Israel and around the whole world. But we are chosen too for our strength, our example to the world through our commandments and our morality, and our indestructible determination. And 500 days ago, we were chosen to fight this perversion, this subversion, this inversion of reality and justice. 500 days ago, we rose to that challenge, to that reality, and to that horror. We rose in unity and in strength, and in our determination to do better for ourselves and for the whole world, to fight back against the powers of evil and death, to counter every slur that's thrown at us: genocide, apartheid, baby killers, terrorists, to set an example. But we've not just been hated for 500 days. We've not just been hated for 500 years. We have been hated since our earliest beginnings for over 5,000 years. When Hitler and the Nazis tried to wipe us from the earth, when Spain expelled us in 1492, when Haman sought to annihilate us, when Rome destroyed our temple, we were hated. When Cain killed Abel, our story of hatred began. When Nimrod cast Abraham into the fire for rejecting idols, we were hated for believing in one God. When Pharaoh enslaved us for being too many, we were hated before we even had a land. When Amalek attacked us unprovoked in the desert, we were hated simply for existing. We have heard this all before, just like our ancestors, those who survived and those who were killed. And like them, we stay strong to reveal to the world our values, our morals, our ethics, our strength, our clarity, our example, our light. For this too we were chosen. So I don't just want us to look back over the last 500 days. Let us set ourselves a target for the next 500. Let's meet here again 500 days from now and assess what we all did to turn round this tide of hatred, to call out, counter and extinguish racism and hatred against Jews, to reveal, to challenge and stand down the hypocrisy in our media and our politics towards the Jewish state, to defend Britain, the West, and all people of goodwill against the forces of evil and barbarism which have gained so much influence. Let us get every hostage back. Let us remove the threats of Islamic terrorism from Israel, from Britain, from Europe, from the world. Let us remove the mullahs in Iran and restore freedom to the peace-loving people of that country. Let us work as proud Britons, proud Jews. Let us bolster our allies and weaken and destroy our enemies. Let us win. As we look back over the tragedies, horrors, and victories of the last 500 days, we must remain steadfast and determined also to look forward to the future. In 500 days from now, let's ensure that we can say proudly, we did everything we could, and we won.
מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל
העומדים על משמר ארצנו I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, Noam Sagi. Noam Sagi was a leading figure in the fight for the hostages when his mother, Ada, was taken by Hamas on October 7th. Ada was held captive for 53 days and was eventually released as part of the first agreement. Following the successful release, Noam has dedicated his efforts to supporting the rehabilitation of the returned hostages and their families. Please join me in welcoming Noam Sagi.
Wow. In a world full of hate, it's amazing to feel the love. And thank you for being here in this cold evening with us tonight. For us, this is another landmark day since the 7th of October. For the hostages, there is nothing special about today. Today is just another day in hell. Same like the day before and the day before that. No air, no light, no movement, hardly any food, and no notion if there is tomorrow. The body gets weaker, the mind gets tested to its limit, not knowing, not feeling, patience stretched to the end, every noise can be the last. Survival is all that matters. Sagi Dekel-Chen, who was released 3 days ago, said he was counting seconds, not minutes, not hours, not days. Over 43 million seconds he counted. Lucky for us, Sagi stopped counting. We need all to come back home and stop counting seconds. It is obviously a long way to freedom, and maybe even a longer way to recovery. But we want them all back with us so we can all start healing together. When all words been used and all angles been exhausted, every hostage that come back home feels like a survival miracle. We have 73 to go. Each one is a whole world. Each one touched so many others, and we all connected in pain and hope. Today, from here, from London, I want to send a big hug to my extended family that is kibbutz near us. The most amazing community who lost so much. Near us still has 20 of its people in the hands of Hamas. And so many of them are just around me right now. So today, I say loud and clear, let my people go! And bring them home now. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Noam. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our final speaker this evening. Colonel Yoav is the Israeli Defense Attaché to the UK, based here in London. He served in the Israeli Air Force at various... I'll start all over again. It It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our final speaker this evening. Colonel Yoav is the Israeli Defense Attaché in the UK, based here in London. He served in the Israeli Air Force at various operational and commanding positions for the past 28 years. He is married to Tal and they have 3 kids. Please join me in welcoming Colonel Yoav.
Before I start my speech I prepared, I want to just thank you all for just being here and showing the spirit of this unique community. And I'm so deeply moved and proud to stand here as the IDF representative here in London and see the Israeli flag waving up high alongside the UK flag, the way it should be, and let them both fly high in the sky. I would like to start by thanking you for the opportunity to address you all on behalf of the IDF for this important gathering. My name is Yoav. I'm a colonel in the Israeli Air Force, and for the past 7 months I have been serving as the Israeli military attaché to the United Kingdom. I live in London with my wife and 3 kids. We came here from a small community in the southern part of Israel, where I commanded one of our Air Force bases before and during the war. Raising our kids on an Israeli Air Force base means that they are quite accustomed to the battle rhythm of military activity. They can tell the difference between the thunder roar of an F-15 or an F-16 taking off to strike terrorists in Gaza from the sound of an Arrow missile being launched to intercept Shihab missiles on the way from Yemen to Eilat. But it also means that they are constantly looking for a safe place to run to, anticipating a red color siren. Even during our first weeks here in London, I had to explain to them that they don't need to worry about missile attacks on their way to school in Hampstead or on our way to visit friends in Hendon. As we can all agree, a military's first duty is to defend the nation, to stand between civilians and any enemy that might threaten them. On October 7th, 2023, early morning of Simchat Torah, we, in the IDF, failed to fulfill our duty. We were taken by surprise, unprepared, and in no way ready to defend against thousands of Hamas terrorists storming into our villages and towns bordering the Gaza Strip. The terrorists came equipped and well-trained with the intent and orders to massacre as many Jews as they could, killing, raping, burning, and kidnapping hundreds. It was the deadliest assault on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. The brave acts of individuals, civilians and military alike, saved many on that dreadful day, but it was too little and in many cases too late. Our enemies thought that with this barbaric attack they would be able to break the resilience of the Israeli society. They hoped that all of Israel's enemies would join them and truly believed it could bring an end to the Jewish state. They were mistaken. What has happened since then is exactly the opposite. The IDF fought to push back Hamas, followed it into Gaza to destroy its bases, defeat it, and fight for the return of all of our hostages. The people of Israel have risen up in a unique show of unity to fight for our homeland. So many have recruited for reserve duty. The whole nation mobilized to defend itself. Israelis have shown their resilience and strength. The solidarity of the Jewish people all around the globe, and also here in London, show the world once again what this nation is made of. We are winning this war, not just in Gaza, but in the entire Middle East. 16 months have passed and Hezbollah has been badly hit. It has been weakened to its lowest point ever. In Syria, the Assad regime is gone and the Iranians have been driven out. Iran itself has been exposed and is in a fragile place. And in Gaza, Hamas no longer poses a strategic threat to Israel. But the war is not over yet. We are very determined to continue as much as needed in order to achieve all of our goals. 73 hostages are still held in captivity. We will not rest until they are all free, back with their families or brought for a proper burial. If there is something we Israelis learned from October 7th, is to listen to our enemies. We will simply not allow Hamas to exist near our borders. We don't need to imagine what could happen. They tell us exactly that themselves. They praise death and destruction, whereas we cherish life. They teach their children hate, whereas we educate them to love and the importance of life. But we also learned to be more cautious, more modest, to appreciate the importance of unity within ourselves and throughout the Jewish world. I would like to use this opportunity to thank you for your support and to tell you how much it is important for the State of Israel. We will continue to stand together and we will win together. With prayers for the safe returns of all hostages and for the safe return of IDF soldiers from battle and for the success of Am Israel. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. We stand here today to mark 500 painful days and sleepless nights since the Black Saturday of October the 7th, a day that shook us to the core. When I think of that fateful morning, one thought keeps coming back to me. Never again. We have promised it countless times, yet on that fateful morning, we failed spectacularly. Our government failed, our military failed, our nation failed, and we, as the Jewish people, failed. Since that day, our world is turned upside down. Our people live in trauma, riding a relentless roller coasters of emotion, glued to the screens, torn between hope and despair. But in the aftermath of the devastation, we have each faced the most important question. What now? What do we do after the pogrom? Tonight, 500 days later, we gather to remember, to honor our beautiful brothers and sisters, our sons, our daughters, our parents, our grandparents, our children, all stolen from us. We pay tribute to the ultimate sacrifice that's been made by the heroes of the IDF and the security forces of Israel, who stood between us and destruction ever since the 7th of October. And tonight, we declare with unwavering conviction, never again is now. We failed once, but we are the people of Israel. We stand on the shoulders of giants, from Samson the hero, to Mordechai Anilevich in Warsaw Ghetto, to the heroes of the Yom Kippur War, through Aner Shapira and Shiri Bivas in their resilient on the Black Saturday. We are the people who rise. Our people rose like phoenix from the ashes of Auschwitz to build a Garden of Eden in the desert, surrounded by enemies who seek our destruction. But again, against all odds, we do not just survive, we thrive. And we will dance again, and tomorrow will be better. We will rebuild stronger, safer, unbreakable. We will fix what must be fixed, because this is what we do. We are the Jewish people, have always done this. We are the builders, we are the doers, the ones who refuse to accept a problem without a solution. And we move forward, always forward. But let us never forget, our greatest power is in our unity. It's our togetherness that makes us invincible. So my dear friends, I leave you here with those words. The forever people are not afraid from a long road. He who believes is never afraid. Believe in Israel, believe in our people, believe in that togetherness and unity. Nobody can break us. Am Israel Chai, thank you all for coming. I want to thank the CST and the Met Police for securing us tonight. I want to thank all the amazing volunteers who made this happen. I want to thank all the different organizations, Stop the Hate, the Missing Family Forum, Remember 710, C, AAA, and so many others who contribute to this evening, and above all, for you who are coming to stand here with us in the freezing cold. Thank you very much, and good evening.
כל עוד בלבב פנימה נפש יהודי הומיה ולפתי מזרח קדימה עין לציון סופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים אוי להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים עם ישראל חי! עם ישראל חי! עם ישראל! עם ישראל! עם ישראל חי! God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. Thank you for showing your support tonight. Thank you very much. Bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them home. Let them go. Now, let them. Now. 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 Now.